time us, please.
Will televised election debates serve the interests of democracy or the cult of the personality?
Carol Vorderman?
I've been on television all these years. I'm looking forward to them, actually, the three of them, on the three different channels. And I'm very pleased to say that none of them are in London, that they're all out of London, which I think is a good thing. I'm looking forward to them. I quite agree with the rules, to be perfectly honest. I think it will make it more interesting. A lot of people say that it would make it very bad television, but I think it's good that we're having them. I think the Liberal Democrats are the winners, because Nick Clegg will be seen on an equal platform with David Cameron and obviously Gordon Brown. But bring it on.
Interest of democracy, Shirley Williams?
Well, I think it's right to have it, but I have to admit that it was another bit of myself I regret it. And the reason I regret it is because I think we're looking at a situation where cabinet government is being destroyed. I think we've seen that in the last three major administrations, Mrs. Thatcher's, Tony Blair's, and now Gordon Brown's, where we've established a presidential system, which is what the media want, without an effective parliament to control it. And I'm really worried about this development. I think that unlike America, where there's a very effective Congress, we have a weak parliament, and that means what we're essentially doing is creating bosses and leaders who don't even have to consult the cabinet, let alone anybody else, in order to push forward their own individual policies. So while, given the situation, I think it's better to have the presidential TV discussions than not, I must say, frankly, I regret the passing of the cabinet system, which I think was very effective, very good, and actually enabled one to take into account many views and opinions about serious decisions.
Of course, as a Liberal Democrat, your party is said to be the one that will benefit most. Do you think it's true it will? What?
Yes, I think it probably will benefit most.
What do you think?
I don't think these televised debates really will contribute to democracy, because Carol said that the Lib Dems will win because people will see Nick Clegg on an equal standing with Gordon Brown and David Cameron. But what about the significant proportion of the population who would vote Green or UKIP or Plaid Cymru? Where's their representation in these debates?
Boris Johnson, you in favour of them?
Yeah, of course I am, and I have to say I slightly disagree with Shirley. I think that politicians are engaged in a Darwinian struggle for influence with all sorts of people like you,
Michael Ashcroft,
exactly, and Ashcroft and everybody else, and so they've got to get with the programme and realise that television was invented some time ago, and that people want to see what they've got to say. And I think that I'm sure you're doing one of them, aren't you?
I'm moderating.
You're moderating, exactly. I'm sure.
Rule number 56, the moderator. It says the moderator shall moderate the debate.
I'm sure you're moderating in a very moderate fashion, and it will go extremely well. But my own view is I did several of them. Actually, you're incredible. You interrupted me a lot in the one I did in the run-up to the mayoralty, and I think probably by the end of three sessions of 90 minutes, I think people will be probably begging for mercy by the conclusion of this thing.
What do you think?
I think the idea of having a televised debate, like whether it's just with those three parties or with other parties as well, I think it's a very good idea, because we're actually going to have the opportunity to see the politicians actually saying their policies and their views instead of just like the media reporting on things which may or may not be what they actually said. Okay. And I think there is a definite problem with like the sort of the cult of the personality, but I think that's more of an issue. The media has to change what they're actually reporting on, politics and policies rather than just personality
and the woman there?
Aspects.
I agree with Shirley Williams in that we do have a weak parliament, and I think evidence of that is how paranoid the candidates are being about the structure of the debates, and they're controlling the editorial policy of the debates, and this makes the whole concept of a live election debate on TV obsolete, because there's no chance for the audience to interact. And as we can see from this show here, it's a great format. It works really well. And from our politicians who are here now talking to us, none of you have actually answered our questions directly and to the point. So I don't see the point of the
What's the question?
Am I allowed to answer the question directly and say I think these debates are a great idea, without reservation? I think they're a big contribution to democracy. After all, every week when Parliament's sitting, the party leaders debate against each other, and the big issues, earlier we heard that we want this election to be about issues, not personalities. The big issues are debated. The one period where the party leaders do not go head-to-head is in the most important period that matters for the electorate, which is when they're making up their mind and choosing how to vote. So these 3 debates, I think, will enable the issues to be aired.
Yeah.
And the reason why we have the people that we have before the debates, rather than a much wider range of people we could have, is that these are the credible candidates for the office of Prime Minister. And I think it's very important that the public actually get to see and to hear debating against each other those people who want to hold the office of Prime Minister.
Nick Clegg
is clearly a credible candidate.
Prime Minister.
He leads a large party. Now,
I don't mean personally, I mean he leads a party large enough to form a government.
I think the most credible candidate is, of course, Gordon Brown. But the
most incredible.
You would
you say incredible.
The most credible.
The most incredible.
The most credible.
I think the debate's going to be wonderful because they will elucidate the vacuity at the heart of Labour. What is Labour going to do for the next 5 years? Supposing Gordon Brown were to get elected again, does anyone have a clue what they're actually going to do?
Boris, you haven't even been able to tell us yet what your cuts are going to be.
On the contrary, I was rudely... I was
He was out of order.
I was going to give you a very long answer about what we're doing.
Yes, I feared that. The woman in the front...